here probably has a really good attorney joke. Something about being dishonest, something about only caring about the money, something about
all better off.
They're all better off. Attorneys are better off on the side of the road in a ditch somewhere. But those preconceived notions come from a realistic place. People have a lot of fears about attorneys. And so today I want to talk about some of those fears and actually give all of you a way to talk to someone about getting an attorney and to kind of overcome those fears that people are going to naturally have. The first fear that I hear most often is the cost. Attorneys are expensive, and that is unfortunately true. Attorneys are expensive. It is a lot more expensive, however, to not get an attorney in a lot of situations. So just in my realm, in the divorce world, in 2015, the average cost of a divorce was $15,000 on each side. That includes all of the people who do it themselves and only pay the $250 filing fee. So what does that do? It really pulls down the average. I think the actual cost that someone can expect getting representation for a divorce is probably between $20,000 and $25,000 on each side. However, if you have to come to me afterwards to fix it, the average cost that I've been tracking since I started practicing is $40,000 to $45,000 on each side to fix it if you've done it incorrectly the first time. So it saves you about half to get an attorney and do it right the first time. A lot of people don't really understand what they're paying for when they get an attorney. And they quite often think, especially after the process is done, that they could have done it themselves without an attorney, and what did my attorney actually do for me? The court process in and of itself is kind of confusing. It has a lot of requirements and deadlines and timing that has to be really carefully managed. There's a lot of wording and legalese that has to be inserted into how you deal with the court and how you deal with an opposing party and how you draft documents to solidify agreements. There is a reason that we go to law school for 3 years to learn how to do all of that. And if you don't do that the first time around, fixing it once again is difficult, and you can really screw up your life in the future if you don't do it right the first time around. You can create all kinds of unintended tax consequences. You can create all kinds of unintended inheritance consequences. You can create problems with banks and creditors, and pretty much any realm of your life you can create a problem in that you didn't intend to create just because you didn't know what words you needed to include in a document. And not that it's unfixable, it's just really hard to fix after you've done it. The second fear that I hear most often is that they think getting an attorney will make the process more contentious, make it more heated. That is actually the exact opposite of usually what getting an attorney will do. Getting an attorney will generally decrease the tension in any case, not just divorces, but decreases the tension and will make the process much smoother and easier. And actually, in the case of a divorce, it'll make it easier for those two parties, especially if they have children, to be able to continue to interact with each other going forward, which you are going to have to do. I always laugh because I had a client last week who told me they have a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old. He told me that he can't wait until 10 years from now because then he won't have to talk to that person again. And I was like, yeah, that's how that's going to go, because your children stop being your children when they turn 19. You're not going to have weddings or college graduations or all of those things that are going to continue literally for the rest of your life, that you're going to have to see this person at and that you're going to have to interact with this person at. So generally, getting an attorney decreases the animosity because an attorney knows, number one, what's realistic and can give you realistic goals and realistic expectations and can kind of manage expectations and keep you in a place where you don't expect to get the moon, you don't expect to get everything, and can help you come to grips with what the actual outcome of a process is going to be. They also, if they're a good attorney, are not emotionally involved in your process. This is not their life, this is not their divorce, they're not their kids. And so they can keep a level head and they can look at a divorce as a problem and approach it in a logical way and figure out how to solve the problem, rather than every time you call your ex or your friends call their ex, they get on the phone, they start talking about a problem, and then it just blows up and explodes because there's so much emotional stuff that's attached to all of those different things. So the third thing that I hear most often that's a fear that people have about getting an attorney is what you all started out with, the bloodsucker, the attorney personality is generally not one that people really understand. And there are a lot of attorneys who do have the personality that they're really overbearing, they're very aggressive. That doesn't work in family law. Family law is an area that needs to be handled quite often, I think, with kid gloves. You have to be sensitive to the emotional issues that people have, and you have to understand that these problems are problems that affect their entire lives. And so you have to treat the whole person, their whole life, their whole condition. It can't just be this problem. And a lot of attorneys don't have that part of their personality. So one of the things that I recommend to someone who's looking for an attorney is go out and interview a bunch of them. Don't just go and interview one. Don't just go and sit down with the big name attorneys that you've heard of downtown. Find a couple and find someone whose personality matches yours and someone who you feel like will take care of you, not just from a legal standpoint, but will also take care of you from an emotional standpoint. So I don't think I have a whole lot of time left, probably 1 minute. If anyone has a question though, I'm happy to ask.
If I could just add one more comment to that.